Hey, my pretties, it's the Queen of Lions here. Now, I know it's been a while since I did a top 10 video, but I thought today I would go ahead and do a video on me, you know, making a top 10 video on my favorite Disney movies. Now, this is mainly me going over for some Disney movies that I personally liked in my opinion. Now, whether it be my childhood favorites or movies I watched, as I got older, like my teen years, or the movies that I've seen as of now, or those are my favorite as of now. So, now I'm not going to include any Pixar movies in this video because I plan to do that in a separate video. I may include some Disney princess movies, which I do plan to make a separate video on that as well. So if they're included in there, then yeah, they will be included. If there is a Disney movie that involves a princess or something like that. So anyways, I think we should get started. Number 10 being The Little Mermaid. This movie came out in 1989, and it's a part of the Disney's Renaissance period that ran from 1989 to 1999. I honestly really liked The Little Mermaid as a kid. Basically, this story involves Ariel, who is a mermaid, who is princess of the ocean or the sea. She wants to go up to the land, like where humans are, to meet this man named Prince Eric, who she saved from a shipwreck. It has a really good plot line. It's pretty good to the Hans Christian Andersen story, but they did some changes to make it more kid friendly. As the actual story of The Little Mermaid, the story there has not a happy ending. Whilst in the Disney movie, it has a happy ending because, well, Ariel gets married. So, if you guys like Disney, you'll definitely really like this movie, and you will not be disappointed once you've seen it. Beauty and the Beast being number 9. This is another good Disney movie from the 1990s, as well as the Disney's Renaissance period. Now, the story follows a young girl. Now, it's not like super young, but in her teenage years, most likely, named Belle. Now, in the actual Beauty and the Beast story, her name is just called Beauty. But in the Disney one, Disney decided to give her a name, and they called her Belle. So Belle's father, Maurice, tries to go into a town for his new invention and affair. He gets lost and he goes to the palace, where the palace was once held by a prince, was now owned by a beast. So Belle goes there to save her father by taking his place. Eventually, the beast and Belle eventually fall in love because the beast has been cursed by an enchantress. And the only way to break the spell is he needs to love a woman and to earn her love in return in order to be human again before his 21st birthday. And as of the result, a rose petal will each fall upon his birthday if he doesn't get the love from a woman in return. I actually do like the original story of Beauty and the Beast as well. Slightly different than the Disney one. Because in Disney, they include a villain such as Gaston, and they include some pretty amazing animation. And I love the fact that, well, the girl in this movie, Belle, has her own name. Whilst in the original story, Belle didn't have a name. Well, she did, but she was just called Beauty. We just didn't really know their full name. Well, her real name. So, yeah. I mean, if you were a Disney fanatic as well, and I recommend watching this movie. I did say I was going to include a Disney princess movie or so. Like a couple Disney princess movies in there. So, yeah. Let's head on to the next one. Aladdin being number 8. Now, I'm talking about the um 1992 version of Aladdin, not the 2019 remake of it, which I will do a separate video on certain remakes of movies I like. And that will be a different topic, as I did not and I will not include any of the live action or Disney remakes of this unless said so otherwise. So, yeah. So Aladdin basically tells a story about a street rat or a man known as Aladdin. He lives on the streets of Agrabah with his monkey friend Abu. He basically wishes he wasn't, on the run all the time from, stealing stuff from the marketplaces and that. He eventually meets a princess named Jasmine and he falls in love with her, you know, ever since he saved her in the marketplace. Now, Robin Williams is in this movie, and I am going to say now, I really enjoyed how well made this animation of the movie is. I also really like Robin Williams' character as the genie, and I really have to say, it's a wonderful story, and it does have a really good special place in my heart when it comes to childhood. I've had this on VHS at one point too, and for those who are Disney fanatics, I recommend watching this movie. You will not be disappointed once you've watched it. Number 7 being Tarzan. Now, this Tarzan movie came out in 1999, and the story involves a, a jungle boy or a man named Tarzan. Basically, his family gets washed up in Africa in a jungle there, and they held off there until his family was killed by Sabor, and Tarzan was raised by apes or gorillas, and he eventually becomes the jungle keeper or as known as the hero. He eventually meets a girl named Jane, who he falls in love with her later on, as well as meeting Clayton, the villain of the movie, as well as Jane's father, as they are from London in UK from what I remembered. Now I haven't watched a movie in a long time, but yeah, I gotta really watch another movie of this someday because I haven't seen this movie in like ages. I love the plot line of this story. Phil Collins' music in this really made the movie fantastic. I really do think that if anyone likes Disney movies, I recommend they watch Tarzan. As I mean, there's other Disney movies that they will like, but I think they'll really like Tarzan the most. Seeing that Tarzan is actually one of the greatest Disney movies in the late 90s. Although there are other Disney movies out there, this one does pretty good. So I recommend giving it a watch if you haven't watched it already. The Jungle Book. Now, The Jungle Book being number 6. Now, I'm going to be honest, The Jungle Book came out in 1967, the year after my mom was born. I actually really love this movie. It's actually another great movie from the 60s. Now, it's a great Disney movie from the 60s. Since I actually remember having this on VHS as a kid, I used to really watch this nonstop. It's got good actors. The animation was amazing. I really do know that there is a sequel to this movie. And the sequel, which is called The Jungle Book 2, came out in 2003. Now, I really do believe that if you guys really like Disney, you'll really like The Jungle Book. And I mean, if you have it on VHS and or DVD or whatever, then you'll know for a fact that Jungle Book is actually one of everybody's childhood favorites, especially when they're a kid. And I recommend anyone goes to see this one right now, especially if you haven't seen the movie for yourself. It's amazing, got great acting. I mean, Disney makes a lot of masterpieces when it comes to these movies. I really do know for a fact that this movie is definitely one of my favorite childhood favorite movies. Now, on with the next one. Number five being Robin Hood. Now, this is another Disney movie I really loved as a kid. And I mean, I had a few VHS copies of it as a kid, and I really do enjoy Robin Hood. This movie came out in 1973. It's got great acting, and it has a really good story. Now, the story behind Robin Hood is mainly, based on the Robin Hood story with humans, but they actually have this with animals. Having Robin Hood and Maid Marian played having to be foxes, Prince John being, the lion, Sir Hiss being like the snake, and Little John being, the bear. It has a really good plot line, and it's based on the actual Robin Hood story, but Disney, kind of made it, more kid friendly, obviously. Like, made it as somewhat of a musical at certain parts, made it more childhood or child friendly, so to speak, because, I mean, it does have dark, topics. Not really too much, but it has dark themes in it, as well as some messed up concepts in certain parts. I still really find this movie to be amazing and pretty good for a movie in the 70s. I mean, I guess sometime, especially if you're in the furry community, you'll definitely really find this movie coming to mind every time you're in the furry fandom. And I mean, I think about this movie when it comes to the furry fandom. I mean, there are other movies too, but I'm just saying. Now, number four being the take place is Sleeping Beauty. This movie from Disney came out in 1959. And this story tells about a princess named Aurora who was pretty much a princess at the point when she was a baby, but the fairies such as Fauna, Flora, and Merryweather had to take Aurora somewhere into the cottage in the woods because Maleficent, the evil witch or evil fairy. I mean, some people really confuse Maleficent as a witch. Some people confuse her as, a fairy. But I mean, Maleficent turns into a dragon halfway through the movie, and I mean, it's pretty epic. I mean, basically, when Aurora turned 16, after she'd been living in the cottage with the fairies, they return to the castle, but Aurora gets cursed by Maleficent's spinning wheel curse, which she pricked her finger and fell into a deep sleep. Now, she has to be awakened by true love's first kiss, and which that meant Prince Philip has to kiss her so she could be brought back to life. Now, this is based on the fairy tale, like the actual story, but the actual story is pretty pretty messed up, especially with what happens to, Sleeping Beauty and the actual story. I'm not going to go too much into detail on that cuz I already covered that in Shadows and Pretties, but I also do know that the subject matter of it is kind of messed up in its own self. That's just all I can really say, but if you want to know the actual story of Sleeping Beauty, or the title is actually called Sun, Moon, and Italia. Now, I guess Aurora was a more suitable name that when Disney adapted Sleeping Beauty, they wanted to make some changes. Obviously, to make it more friendly towards younger audiences. I honestly really like this movie. It's another one of my favorite classic Disney movies, but it's still a good one out there. And I recommend you guys watching this movie if you haven't seen it yet. Frozen being a number three, being a pretty good movie that came out almost 10 years ago. And yes, this movie came out in 2013. I watched this movie in theaters on a school trip, and I have to say, The story about it is pretty much based on the Snow Queen story, but Disney decided to have it, as Frozen. Mainly the plot of this movie is about Elsa having ice powers, but she, flees from Arendelle as in fear of, people fearing her because, of her powers. She was having a hard time controlling them. Anna, however, tries to go and, find her, but not only that, try to get and convince Elsa to come back to make things right in Arendelle with the help of Kristoff and his reindeer Sven. Olaf is one of the main reasons why I love Frozen, but I also like the characters. I mean, fun little fact, the actress for Elsa, who voiced her, Idina Menzel, she is the actress for Alphaba in the 2003 Broadway show called Wicked. You know, if you've seen her performance in Wicked, you probably will recognize Elsa's voice in that as well as the movie. Just thought I would give it a little fun fact because I recognized how similar their voices were when I saw that. And if you are a Disney fanatic and love princesses, I recommend this movie. Number two, having to be Brother Bear. Now, this movie came out in 2003. I mean, it's a really underrated Disney movie. I mean, I rarely see people include this in their top 10 favorite Disney movies. I mean, I know there's a couple videos of people including this movie in it, but not really much. I mean, I really enjoy Brother Bear, especially as a kid. Basically, this story is about, Native Americans, and it's taken place around the BC timeline. Basically, Kenai kills Koda's mother, or a bear, and he gets cursed. Not really cursed, but Kenai transforms into a bear, and he meets up with Koda, who is the bear cub, and they go on this little adventure. The salmon run or something like that. So, Kenai basically has to learn from his mistakes when he killed Koda's mother in order to be human again. I really do believe that this movie needs more attention because of how amazing and well made Disney made this movie, especially with the characters Kenai and Koda. I mean, Phil Collins also sang his songs in this movie, and I mean, anything with Phil Collins, even if his songs are in a certain movie, we know it's going to be good. I mean, when he sung the songs for Tarzan, I know for a fact Tarzan movie just made it 1,000 times better. For him to include songs in this movie, though, it just made the movie even a lot better. So I definitely gotta say, I really recommend watching this movie if you like Phil Collins, because I'm not gonna lie, this movie is actually one of my favorite movies from the 2000s era. And I recommend you watching this movie if you ever never have seen it. I recommend it. Anyways, let's get on with the last and final movie of this list. Most of you guys know on my channel by now that The Lion King is number one on this list, mainly because it's actually one of my favorite Disney movies of all time. It's probably why my channel is called The Queen of Lions. Now, basically, The Lion King is about a young lion cub named Simba who wants to become king someday. When his evil uncle Scar kills his dad Mufasa and Simba flees, eventually he comes back as an adult to take back the Pride Rock and become the king. It's based on the Hamlet story, and which is what makes the movie so special, is that it's pretty much a movie based on the Hamlet story, except the characters are changed, like names basically. Like, Simba's character was basically based off of Hamlet. And I mean, the plot of it all is just flat out amazing and fantastic. I like the acting in this movie. I mean, I know they have a 2009 remake, 19 remake of it. Sorry about that. I said 2009 by accident. I didn't mean to, so scratch that. I really do like the characters in there, especially Scar being one of the best villains of The Lion King. I mean, there's other villains in Disney that do pretty good, but Scar is actually one of my all time favorites in it. So, really gotta say, I mean, everybody has seen The Lion King. I've known pretty much everybody that has seen The Lion King. Like, I mean, I've never met anyone who has never seen the movie. I mean, I've every time I bring up The Lion King towards people, they say they like the movie, and I've never ran into anyone who never has seen the movie. I mean, to anyone who has never seen the movie, you gotta really see it. It's Disney's masterpiece. I mean, Disney's made other ones, but this one's definitely the best masterpiece of all Disney movies, especially in the 90s. I know they have a sequel called The Lion King 2 Simba's Pride, which I may make another top 10 video on my top 10 more Disney movies or something like that. But it's definitely a good one. And I recommend watching this movie if you have not seen this movie, because I can guarantee you now, you will not be disappointed once you've seen this movie. And I can understand why a lot of people really love The Lion King. Like, I've seen a lot of people really enjoy Lion King. I found the concept of it to be good. I like the characters too, especially the ones that are inspired off of Hamlet. So, that pretty much concludes my top 10 list of favorite Disney movies. I do apologize if your favorite Disney movie is not in this list. I'll probably make a part 2 or something. But yet again, that's going to really depend if I have time or whenever I get the chance, that is. So, if you happen to not like any of the movies I listed in this video and you have your own opinions on that, feel free to state them in the comments below, because I am free to listen to your own opinions on certain movies, even if you don't like them, that I like them on this list. But yet again, that's everyone's opinion, and we're all entitled to our own opinions, like I said before. As long as you're respectful to everyone's opinions, then we are civil if you're respectful. So, with that being said, what did you guys think about my list? And, well, not list really, but yeah, you could still say, what your thoughts are on this list are. I mean, what do you think of it? Do you like any of the movies I listed? Did you not like the movies I listed? Also, what your thoughts and opinions are on these Disney movies I listed? Feel free to leave me know what your thoughts are down in the comments below. Oh, pardon me, sorry about that. I'm the Queen of Lions. Thank you so much for watching today's video. If you're new to my channel, be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, because I'll make brand new videos every single day. Don't forget to ring the notification bell when I upload, so that way you guys will not miss an upload. And as always, I'll be seeing you in the next video. And as always, roll the outro, because I'm out.